Billions of dollars are about to flood into these altcoins, and here's why.
There are public, theses written by folks. Like there's one I read by this guy, Hall Press, from North Rock. And he has a thesis that, these Bitcoin layers are going to be a lot more valuable in the future. Because if you look at Ethereum, again, this is public information. People can just go and read the thesis. If you look at Ethereum is around $200 or $250 billion of capital, and something like $50 billion of L2's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 25 billion are already public, and rest are private. Like they've gotten their fundings, they haven't launched yet, and so on. So $50 billion market betting on like L2's on Ethereum are going to be huge. Bitcoin is $500 billion of capital, mostly passive, right? You can't even do much with Bitcoin on L1s. And the total kind of like L2 market would be like 1.5 billion, of which Stacks is like probably 1.3 billion.
So
right.
Give me one or two examples of something that you'd like to see come out of Trust Machines in the next year or two.
So with Trust Machines, one of the areas, so it's funny, like, you made that very valid comment about why haven't we seen more development around Bitcoin? Other than the culture part, which we discussed briefly, I think now it's easier to ignore that crowd because there are enough builders coming in, and there's enough,
including some Bitcoin maxis that are getting into it.
Yeah, exactly. So it softens, it just softens the thing, right? And it becomes more acceptable to build on Bitcoin. So I think that was a really good thing. So the culture is getting better. What's the hurdle after the culture? I think the infrastructure and dev tooling just requires so much more work. Like Trust Machine, we had really, good ideas about what type of Bitcoin applications we want to build. And we will soon discover anything that we look at, even Stacks itself, or Lightning or DLCs, that to really use these technologies, there's a lot more work that needs to be done, right? So for Stacks, I'll give you the example that this decentralized way of moving BTC capital from L1 into Stacks and back.
That's Bitcoin capital.
That's Bitcoin capital. Yeah. So there's this asset called SBTC. It's like a decentralized Bitcoin-backed asset. So your Bitcoin, SBTC is always one-to-one backed by BTC on L1, right? And you can use it in a more programmable way, and then when you're done, you can bring it back to the Bitcoin L1. That work is in our business interest, but it wasn't moving at the speed we would have liked it to move. So we are putting a bunch of our engineers to try and push it forward. We are contributing to it. So, why we are doing that? Because that thing is absolutely required for our applications. Like imagine if we want to build a lending application where people can go from BTC to a stable coin very, very easily.
That's exactly why there is billions of dollars that's about to flood into the DeFi ecosystem for Bitcoin. Of course, Stacks is the co-founder that was just speaking in that video in the interview with Forbes, but there's tons of other products that are in development. Some of the ones that you're most familiar with are probably Lightning Network, Ordinals, or maybe even Mint Layer, which is one that you guys have been commenting on in these videos below. And of course, let me know which ones you're watching out for, because guys, Bitcoin Layer 2s are exploding, and it is very hard to keep up with all of them, but it is still extremely early, and we're going to learn about that in this video. So here are the 3 top projects that I'm going to be breaking down in this video that have the top integration and will be capturing a lot of the money that floods into this industry. Number 1 is going to be Internet Computer Protocol. Yes, I doubt you guys saw that one coming, but they actually have natively integrated with Bitcoin, and they have some really cool technology. In fact, they probably have some of the best technology in the game. Listen to this.
When the Internet Computer mainnet finally launched, it was pretty wild. As an organization, we're primarily staffed by R&D folks, as is the nature of the project even now. Meanwhile, while all this wildness was going on, we had to contribute to the network to keep it up and running. The Internet Computers managed to run the last 2 years without any downtime. There's been so many improvements that have been added to the Internet Computer in the last 2 years. There are almost too many to mention. Just recently, something called Chain Key Bitcoin went live. Internet Computer nodes actually talk to Bitcoin nodes. That enables smart contracts on the Internet Computer to directly process Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain without need for bridges.
Yes, without the need for bridges. ICP is one of the largest ecosystems out there, of course, reaching over billions of dollars in market cap. And they have natively integrated this asset, which can help with the scalability of a lot of the DeFi protocols within Bitcoin's native layer. You guys know ordinals, right? You may have never seen this screen before, but this is the amount of inscriptions, or the ordinals, which people look at as NFTs on top of Bitcoin, and they are skyrocketing. So total inscriptions continues to just move up and to the right. We are in a bear market in terms of the daily inscriptions that are taking place. The last one we had was between September and November, and we're now coming to one of those lowest points in recent history for the ordinal adoption. Of course, guys, these just started last year. They're not even, well, they're about a year old at this point. Grew a lot of development in May, skyrocketed over the winter, and this is going to lead into why a lot of projects, or not a lot of projects, but capital firms are starting to realize Bitcoin layer 2s are probably the most untapped potential economy on these markets. You see Bitcoin's market cap sitting at like $1 trillion. And of course, this adjusts about on a daily average of 10 to 15%, it feels like sometimes. But guys, 238 billion is the potential market size for Bitcoin smart contracts, meaning Bitcoin layer 2s, the projects within the entire ecosystem, if you compare it to stablecoin L2s, NFTs, and dApps built on top of Ethereum, which you can see here on the right hand side, 270 billion to 76 billion. Massive upside potential. So guys, when you see an entire market or ecosystem only the size of maybe 20 to 30 projects, and again, not even half of these have tokens, the amount of liquidity that can flood into Bitcoin's ecosystem is just unfathomable. I couldn't even honestly process which projects are going to see 10, 20, 30, 40 X's, because I don't think it's just going to be one. I think it's going to be many. Now, ICP, of course, guys, is going to be a leading project already. It has a market cap of $6.1 billion. And even though they've natively integrated Bitcoin, they're also at their top of a game for another sector called DPIN, which you guys, of course, have seen in this video up and to the right. If you haven't watched any of our DPIN videos, we're doing deep dives into this entire ecosystem of decentralized physical infrastructure. And why I don't necessarily talk about it in this project or in this video, because this one's literally just hidden gems and is why you want to check it out, it does break down why Internet Computer Protocol is so important. Here's an interview with Paul Barron Network and, of course, Dominic about their DPIN narrative.
So DPIN's an interesting category. I think it's important not to imagine the internet computer as a network of servers or something like that are being rented out, though. So it's true that the internet computer runs on sovereign hardware. And in that, I think it's really the second blockchain to do so. The first, of course, is Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin is created by miners who have this dedicated hardware, hashing hardware. And what's interesting is actually that both Bitcoin and the internet computer have autological names, like they're kind of descriptive names rather than brands. Filecoin's the same, and that contrasts quite strongly with traditional proof of stake blockchains that run predominantly, on big tech's cloud.
Right.
The internet computer is really a fundamental play to extend the capabilities of the public internet.
Yeah, that is massive. So ICP, kind of just a game changer in the industry. And even though you see this chart here that looks like it's just a hospice line, I am somebody that's actually been incredibly bearish on ICP in the past, and not because of what's taking place here in the beginning. You guys don't need the story on the breakdown of FTX and the corruption that took place there and the manipulation. It was actually just because of a lot of the marketing from the influencer campaigns, which may or may not have been connected to Dfinity, that I just didn't agree with a lot in the bear market. But now with this integration with CKBTC, I've had the opportunity to actually use it and be a part of utilizing it at Bitcoin Miami, which again is probably where a lot of the bearish factor just came in from how the marketing management was taking place. But ultimately, the CKBTC, guys, it's a huge narrative. It's only going to ramp up. And if you guys want to understand how ICP actually works, think of it as a disruptor to Amazon Web Services. Everything in the world and on the internet relies on a centralized server database. So even when you're using Solanas and other ecosystems, while they have NFTs, those NFTs are actually all reliant on a centralized database, even though they claim to be a decentralized network. And Solana was probably the worst example to use there. But that's the purpose of ICP. They're looking to create a decentralized internet computer that's not controlled by big tech and now has complete integrations with Bitcoin, which I'm excited to see some of the layer 2 interoperability solutions that potentially come out of that. Now, next up, of course, guys, and shout out to the community, guys, one of the biggest communities out there. The next project I hear, number 2 on the list. We went from 3 to 2. We have Threshold Network, which is sitting at about 3 cents. $300 million market cap, a lot newer, of course, just launched in April of 2022. Their CEO just came out, Matt Luongo, and talked about, of course, Bitcoin Layer 2s with Blockster's Web3 platform right here. At least they did an article on him. With a vision to empower individuals and foster anonymity in the digital realm, Matt's journey in the crypto industry has marked a pivotal moment that led to the inception thesis. In this inclusive interview, yes, it was with them, we delve into Matt's insights on Thesis' mission, its current initiatives, and the future of Bitcoin Layer 2s, offering a glimpse into transformative potential crypto technologies. Now, of course, he tweeted out, in 2024, we bring builders back to Bitcoin. Buckle up. Threshold, guys, is going to be a place where you can utilize your Bitcoin to start staking and earning, and of course, locking up that value and getting a lot of the DeFi governance potential and rewards that you weren't able to before on Bitcoin's native layer. This is the industry that everybody is starting to attack. Now, why I wanted to shout them out is because ETH Denver is taking place this next week, or at least very, very soon. And they're going to be joining, of course, Thesis here, which if you guys didn't know, he's not only the founder of Thesis, they have built Fold, TBDC, the T Network, which is going to be the one I just showed you, Threshold Network, Tahoe XYZ, and Embody Space. So massive investments in capital. And they're joining Babylon to talk about, of course, the potential of Bitcoin's renaissance. That is what they're calling 2024, the renaissance of Bitcoin. And they're expecting to see massive upside investments here to Bitcoin's network. And one of the projects, of course, guys, Babylon, that they're hosting this with, is also looking to unlock the 21 million Bitcoin to secure the decentralized economy and focus a lot more on DeFi. They are implementing most recently with Cosmos to integrate Bitcoin staking protocols once again, utilizing Atom to support Bitcoin's ecosystem and enhance the DeFi mechanisms, staking rewards and protocols that exist out there. This is another huge advancement and step into Bitcoin's layer, guys. You saw it in the beginning of this video when we were talking. We saw the co-founder of Stack say, we need more solutions so that way they can build these type of borrowing and lending protocols. It is very important that these are starting to be established. And in this crazy, in-depth PDP, I actually don't even know what this would be. Here, this is from an asset management, guys. This is from a capital firm that is talking about the era of Bitcoin Layer 2s, Spartan Research. Now, of course, there's tons of metrics with billions upon billions of dollars that is going to look to flood into this industry. But the reason why I wanted to show you guys Spartan here is because they are massive builders already in Bitcoin specifically. They're focusing on a lot with $500 million under assets under management, with $1 billion in deal making. And if we click on their assets under management, check this out, select investments, you'll notice that they have 1inch, Akala, BenQ, ClayStack. They're also in Origin Protocol, gaming metaverse, massive allocations. Of course, infrastructure projects, infrastructure plays. This is a huge capital with their clients being Blockfolio, Zabar, Augur. You have, again, Stacks right here, capital raise. They raised a ton of money here for Stacks, Bybit, BitGo, BitDAO, Solana, Wilder World, some of the biggest projects in crypto. They released this extensive report on the opportunity that is going to take place in 2024 with Bitcoin Layer 2s. And I really recommend you check this out if you guys want an in-depth read. But of course, it is like 50 pages and it breaks down the ecosystem. So you guys would know, if I zoom in on this project or this sheet right here, we've talked about Alex here. We've showed you guys Unisat. We've used a lot of these ecosystems down here, OKX, Sverse, right, to utilize hopefully stacking down the other video I mentioned that we disclosed Bitcoin Layer 2s. And actually, in fact, let's put that right here too. If you haven't watched the Bitcoin Layer 2 video, make sure you go do so, because these are the three, and I'm going to show you the top one in just a second. But these are the hidden gems that I believe are starting to launch and establish themselves on Bitcoin Layer 2. Now, of course, guys, number one is without a doubt Stacks. We talked about it with the founder in the beginning of this video. We touched on it just briefly, and I know you might be rolling your eyes here, but Stacks is incredibly undervalued in my opinion, guys. Even though it is skyrocketing to all-time highs, we called this at 46 cents. The FDV, guys, again, if we go back to that chart, where we could see the amount of liquidity that is still accessible to here, I would pay very, very close attention to Stacks, as their Nakamoto upgrade is coming around the Bitcoin halving, and that's going to increase a lot of the transaction speeds and the integrations that Stacks is actually able to provide. So if you have checked out Stacks, make sure, again, you guys go to our Layer 2 Bitcoin video, because they are building extensively, and there's actually a lot of cool airdrops that are potentially taking place in their on their ecosystem already in their DeFi sector. So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you go do so. That's what I got for you guys today. Let me know what Bitcoin Layer 2s you're watching in the comments below, because this ecosystem is just getting started. And if you guys want in-depth threads, in-depth videos, and more deep dives into the Bitcoin Layer 2 project specifically, let me know. Tag us on Twitter, and we will start creating those videos here for you guys on Discover Crypto, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you at the top.